Hello. Good afternoon, all. You are requested to please take your seats. We will commence our program now. So welcome to the felicitation of Mr. Manabu Chikumoto-san, Director of the Board, President and CEO, Mitsubishi Chemical Group Corporation, in the presence of Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee, Chairman, the Chatterjee Group. I would request Mr. Chikumoto and Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee to please join us on the dais. I would also request our President, Mr. Arnab Basu, and Vice President, Mr. Navneet Narayan, to please also join us on the dais. So we would request Mr. Arnab Basu, President of the Bengal Chamber, to please deliver the formal welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure in welcoming two visionary leaders at the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Mr. Manabu Chikumoto-san, thank you, Director of the Board, President and CEO, Mitsubishi Chemical Group. It's the largest integrated chemical company of Japan. And of course, our very own, Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee, Chairman of the Chatterjee Group. We obviously had the privilege of having Dr. Chatterjee at the Chamber for the 6th edition of our Leadership Lecture Series in August 22. Some of you in the room would remember that session in the evening, when we had the honor of presenting him the Bengal Chamber Sardar Jodh Singh Award for Igniting Minds. And it was a lovely deliberation, and we got to learn quite a few leadership tricks, leadership ideas, leadership guidances from him on that day. It will be our honor to felicitate today Mr. Manabu Chikumoto-san, who has deep business expertise and is widely connected in the chemical industry in Japan and in many other parts of the world. Chikumoto-san joined Mitsubishi Chemical Industries Limited in April '98 and has been serving the company in various positions. Under his leadership, the MCG has been driving transformation of its carbon-intensive business while creating milestones in bioplastics, artificial photosynthesis, and chemical recycling, as well as developing greener materials to realize a circular economy. The chemical industry today is at the pivot of innovations for addressing some of its key challenges, whether it is climate change, water and food scarcity, global health, among many others. The chemical industry is crucial in its role in supply chains of multiple other industries, as you would know, right from pharmaceuticals to construction, consumer, energy, mobility, and many others. A greener chemical sector has the potential to be the driving force of sustainable growth in many organizations who are connected with the industry, and specifically relevant for countries like India, where we obviously need to take care of what we are building is sustainable for the future. Breakthrough transformations in the chemical industry are making path-breaking accelerations, including decarbonizations with low-carbon solutions, technologies like predictive analytics and AI, augmenting manufacturing, and automating the processes, strengthening the core supply chain, amongst many others. Larger chemical consuming sectors have demonstrated their commitments to shift to zero, indicating zero waste, zero emission, and zero hazardous chemicals. With global dynamics, consumer expectations, investor priorities, trade tariffs, transitions to zero toxicity, all of these are being looked forward with a keen eye when it comes to the chemical industry. As reported in the Global Chemical Industry Outlook of 2025, the global chemical industry will grow from USD 6,182 billion to about 6,300 plus billion in 2025, which is also showing a year-on-year growth, positive growth, and is very, very healthy for the sector. We understand the huge expectations on leaders like Chikumoto-san, who is contributing to an immense economic agenda at a worldwide level with social and environmental goals. We are definitely looking forward today to an evening to listen to his address as well as have some opportunities to interact with him today. Along with PC, as we all fondly call him, we have two great leaders for us to interact, deliberate, and learn from. With that, thank you once again, Chikumoto-san, for making time to come here and share your time with us. It's a great privilege to have you here, and it's our pleasure from the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, President. We would now request Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee, Chairman of the Chatterjee Group, to please share his thoughts in the evening. Thank you.
Good evening. It's nice to be here. The problem of coming after Arnab Basu is that he has said everything I was going to say. So now I have to improvise. It's really a fantastic thing that we can felicitate Chikumoto-san. Chikumoto-san, as Arnab mentioned, came here in 1998, the first time, and then he came here again as a managing director the second time. And I'll tell you some anecdotes around the second time of his being here. But I think the board of directors of Mitsubishi Chemicals chose Chikumoto-san to run Mitsubishi Chemicals has its roots in Bengal. And that's why it's very appropriate that Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries is the right venue to felicitate him in this August gathering. And thank you all for coming here today to felicitate him. So Chikumoto-san, I've asked him on my way here, what are some of your memorable times during your being here? And he said a few things, and I hope he will share some of those with you. But one thing in particular he told me is a meeting we had in which apparently I said, he said, I have some problem. How do I solve this problem? And as you know, Mitsubishi MCPI PTI at that time was going through a lot of problems. And actually, he was sent to Calcutta to be the MD of this place because he just finished solving a problem in phenol polycarbonate business, which was losing $50 million a year, and he solved that problem. So they said, oh, you please go to Calcutta because they are losing $130 million a year. So that's why he came here. So when we met in New York and we were discussing about this little problem, I think the way you solve problems, you make a bigger problem. How do you make a small line smaller is to draw a bigger line. So that's what he said, it's nice to be able to have problems. If we don't have problems, what do we do? So he and the board has actually vested their faith in him because Mitsubishi Global is a $30 billion enterprise, Japan's largest company, was actually getting mismanaged. And Chikumoto-san single-handedly convinced the board that that path is the wrong path, let's do the right path. That pivot happened. He did a lot of things during his time in MCPI PTA, which we call now MCPI, MCC PTA, which we call MCPI, which is really the foundation, the management structure, the approach, the safety and reliability culture, which after we took over, we didn't change an iota. You know, if you look at MCPI's management team, nobody has been replaced. Mr. Patrasan has ensured that we are building on the solid foundation Mr. Chikumoto-san had built during his time as a managing director. So I hope I convinced you why he is a great problem solver and why the board of Mitsubishi Corporation Global chooses him always to sambhavamai juge juge, to solve the problems whenever there is a problem. I hope American president doesn't have to call him to solve a global problem after this, because I do not know what other problems are there that are bigger than the problem that he is solving. One other thing I want to add as to why we are felicitating him and why Chikumoto-san is a great, great individual. His closeness to his mother, closeness to his family. He is a family man, good values. And that is what has endeared him. Even today, he comes to MCPI, all the people from MCPI, including Amitabh, flew in from Gujarat to meet Chikumoto-san for a brief time. Now, you all know Calcutta Swimming Club. Calcutta Swimming Club had once in its life went to Hong Kong and won to be the number 8 polo in water polo championship, came number 8. Who do you think was the captain of that club during that time? Chikumoto-san. Under his captainship, we made a mark in the global water polo context. And he was telling me that as they are going through the Hong Kong security check, they did not believe there is a sport called water polo. They thought all the other team members is there for some kind of a nefarious activities. They kept them in 2 hours, and Chikumoto-san made sure each one of them left the holding pen and went to their home, went to their hotel room, and then on to the championship. And they, even today, came from all over to spend time with Chikumoto-san and saying, please come back on Sunday and play water polo with us. So that is the humanity which I think is the reason why he will lead this company to a bigger and better glory. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating him and taking not only Mitsubishi Chemical Global Company to a higher level, but transform the trouble that the chemical and petrochemical industry is going through today and not have the problems. And somebody like him can solve that problem. So while we congratulate him, we are also hoping he has a problem continue to solve. Thank you very much for coming here.
It is a pleasure and privilege for the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry to felicitate Mr. Manabu Chikumoto-san, Director of the Board, President and CEO, Mitsubishi Chemical Group Corporation, We would request Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee and our President, Mr. Arnob Basu, to please felicitate him. My Minister Chikumoto. We would also request Mr. Arnob Basu to please present a token of our appreciation to Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee and the Bengal Chamber book on the heritage. Mr. Navneet Narayan, Vice President of the Bengal Chamber and CEO and Whole-Time Director of Haldia Petrochemicals, will also present a token of appreciation to Mr. Manabu Chikumoto. I understand now we will see an audio visual of the Mitsubishi Chemical Group, which will be followed by our request to Mr. Manabu Chikumoto to address us.
The world is changing at an astonishing pace. For a sustainable future, what can we do now? We can advance the development of green materials. For instance, turning used plastic back into raw materials. Converting CO2 and green hydrogen into raw materials. At the forefront of the transformation to green chemistry, we work to solve societal challenges. Contributing to eco-conscious mobility. Enabling advanced data processing and communications. Improving food quality preservation. Supporting evolution of medical technologies. Toward a future with the circular flow of green materials. To do this, we connect people, technology, and ideas. Honing our strengths with pride and commitment, we connect. Striving to achieve Kaiteki, the well-being of people and the planet. Materials can become more sustainable. Materials can continue to evolve. Materials can inspire the world. Becoming a green specialty company, leveraging the power of materials. Mitsubishi Chemical Group.
Mr. Arnob Basu, President of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee, Chairman TCG, my uncle, dignitaries seated on the dais, honored guests present on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen. I am Manabu Chikumoto, President of Mitsubishi Chemical Group. Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful event. I am very happy to be back here because Kolkata is my second hometown and I love Bengal so much. As you just saw, our main focus is how we connect. Mitsubishi Chemical established a terephthalic acid plant, a polyester raw material in Haldia in 1997, and began production in 2000 as MCCPTA India. I was fortunate to have 2 stints in India between 1998 and 2016. During my first stint, I was one of the initial members of the MCPI project and participated in the startup of the plant. In my second stint, I served as managing director from 2012 to 15. During tough times, I received great help from many people, many friends, many colleagues, including the state government, central government, our customers, suppliers, logistics companies, financial institutions, and also local communities. I deeply appreciate everyone I have worked with on this business and those who have supported us. I am also grateful for the hard work of our employees who are both my friends and colleagues. Standing here today, I cannot help but feel a connection with all of you. Regarding MCPI, after the transfer to Dr. Chatterjee in 2016, Garden Silk Mills was acquired. It's truly remarkable that under integrated operations, the company has expanded its business while ensuring safe and reliable operations of the PTA plant. Thank you, Chatterjee-san, and my elder brother, Patra-san, and everyone else for driving the success of this business. This is my second visit to India in 2 years, and I have been deeply impressed by the technological innovations in areas such as semiconductors and outsourcing. India has maintained a significant GDP growth at around 6%, thanks to excellent policies by central and state governments, like Make in India policy, that has encouraged FDIs and attracted investments in many sectors. Initiatives aimed at digital adoption and fostering startups are commendable. Moreover, incentives for green industries aiming at transitioning to a low-carbon economy and promoting sustainable development in the backdrop of an uncertain macro environment. It's very outstanding. I expect that many Japanese companies will also aim to expand their business in India. Last November, our company announced a new management policy, Kaiteki Vision 35, and a new midterm management plan to achieve our vision. In that plan, we are committed to become a green specialty company, not only improving profitability, but also taking the lead in addressing pressing issues facing society, such as carbon neutrality and the circular economy. We are actively considering investments and businesses development in India
to expand our green specialty business, including products relating to the semiconductors and EVs. We hope to grow together with our stakeholders, including customers and suppliers, with the support of the government. With the valuable connections we have built together, I will work towards advancing the continued development of the both region and the Mitsubishi Chemical Group. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me for this special event today. Thank you very much.
So we are opening for the interactive session. If you have any questions for Mr. Manabu Chikumoto or Dr. Purnendu Chatterjee, you may please join the interactive session and come up with your questions. Thank you.
Chikumoto-san, let me ask you the first question to get this thing going. Given all the turmoil that's going on in the global scene and the Chinese overcapacity that's impacting not only our basic chemicals business, but almost every manufacturing sector, what advice do you have for my friends of the Indian industry and commerce? How do we navigate this dual challenge of Chinese overcapacity and global geopolitical volatility? See, I didn't use the word Trump.
Yeah. So it's just my understanding is that Chinese business style is quite different from ours. And it seems like ignoring the cost and ignoring the profitability. But we really care about the profitability and the sustainability of the business, including the sustainability of our employees and families. So if we have to protect our market, we need to set up some protection. Even thinking over the national security, like injection, you need a polypropylene, you need plastics produced by yourself. If you look at the Japanese earthquake in 2011, in 2010, we were at a loss to have plastics to be approved and qualified by the medical institutions. So if you lose such kind of chemical national security, you will face a very big problem. So if outside market is having so much confusion because of some others very bad activity, let us concentrate on the domestic market and increase our productivity and competitiveness and quality. And let us think over our future generation. And at the same time, some products, Chinese producers cannot produce, even the chemical sector. Commodities they can produce. They are very good at producing a lot of quantity by utilizing a very big facility. But some specialty products, chemical products, they cannot produce. They are trying, but they cannot so far. If we talk about the semiconductor business, Now 2 nano is a smaller size, but it is still developing. It is getting smaller and smaller, more compact. You need more purity. That is very difficult to materialize. So we have such kind of advanced technology by increasing the power of R&D. You can protect your market. Very much developed market, very much profitable and valuable, and supporting our future generation very well. I think that's the way to survive in this very difficult and fluctuating geographical market.
Any questions from the audience? Yes, Mr. Lahiri.
Chikumoto, sir. I am Lahiri, and I listened to what you had to say with great interest. There are two issues which pop up in my mind. The first one has to do with this problem of nanoplastics everywhere. What kind of research is being undertaken, cutting edge research being undertaken to get rid of this problem, which is actually a problem for the whole world? So the nanoplastics issue. The second one is a related question, but I would say a drastic, talking about a drastic change, if at all. That is, when do you think the use of plastics would be abolished? In other words, is there any meaningful and viable substitute like biopolymers and so on and so forth to replace the use of the conventional plastics? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It's a very difficult problem. I think we have multiple layers package, which has a very strong gas barrier. But multiple layer package, if you want to recycle it, you have to have chemical recycling. If it is monolayer, you can utilize it as a mechanical recycling. And the plastics, which is degradable in the sea, in the soil, it doesn't have a microplastics problem. So, like our product, EVOH, ethylene vinyl, the OH is the gas barrier product. And it can be used with the polyethylene, like a polyethylene-like product. It has a very good gas barrier quality. So if you use polyethylene and EVOH together, you can have a gas barrier, and it seems like a monolayer. It can be recycled very well. It is easy to recycle to solve the problem. If the polyethylene is made from the green raw material, like we are developing the technology from the, the plants in the sea, the algae. Algae. So from the algae, we have already produced a phenol. So this is biophenol. Quantity is still small, but we have the technology that to develop the phenol, not from the naphtha, benzene, and propylene, but from the algae. We can produce phenol. Even the cost is higher today, but in the long run, we are trying to get the better cost. And we want to have the product out to the market as soon as possible in the near future. I think chemical has been served for the society a lot. Like mobile phones you are using. But at the same time, chemical cause some problems. That is like microplastics. And beforehand, some problems to the society. But this is really the occasion for the chemical industries to utilize their most power, most knowledge, and most facility they have to convert the raw material and to convert the process and convert the result that is emitting CO2, utilizing CO2, and to make a chemical product, make olefin. It is possible. If you divide the hydrogen from the sea, from the water, by very cheap, utilizing very cheap power, like our project in Abu Dhabi, the power cost is one of the cheapest in the world. If we utilize green power to divide oxygen and hydrogen from water, and utilize hydrogen together with utilizing the CO2 emitted from our factory there, we can produce methanol, and we can produce olefins from methanol. We have our own technology to do that. So it is a very big occasion to serve to the society more from the chemical industry, I think, including any kind of biotechnologies and transforming the product itself. And let us do that. Even though the investment cost is very big, all of the governments are really positive, including Indian governments, Japanese government, European governments, to give us some support, strong support. I think this is the occasion that chemical industry people to do something more to the society.
Thank you.
Moni, I want to add one thing to this beautiful question about, are there alternate to plastics? And obviously all of us that are involved in this have thought about it a lot. But if you look at it over the last 60, 70, or maybe 80 years since the polymers have been discovered, there has not been a material that has these properties, this unique set of properties. Now you need a durable material to carry this water, right? And so that it doesn't get contaminated. At the same time, we're saying when I'm throwing it out, it should be degraded very quickly. To me, this is a contradictory requirement from the same material. It's very difficult to achieve. So I think replacing the polymers that are massively used today, actually replacing other more polluting materials, is the way till something new happens. And I'm not sure, maybe a quantum computer will come and figure out what those new materials are. But as of today, there's nothing cheaper and more durable than you find through these polymers. And people want cheapness, low price, low cost, before anything else. So yes, we have to recycle and figure out how we deal with the waste, but replacing the polymers, there's nothing in sight as far as I know.
I have a question. I'm Sandeep from Wacker Metroarc Chemicals. So my question is, in the Indian government is promoting zero discharge. Most of the chemical industries are asked to, for zero discharge. But on the other side, for zero discharge, you need huge energy to incinerate and to recycle. So this is kind of a conflict. In an energy-dearth country like India, we spend so much for energy, and probably the other reason is to reduce the persistent, of chemical presence in the environment through reducing water discharge. But this is again this zero discharge dilemma what we have in terms of energy. So how do you look what the Indian government should, what is the ideal, I mean how it is handled in Japan, or what could be the future of this zero discharge according to you?
Thank you very much for the question. Again, very difficult question. At least we should be very scientific. The calculation is very important. Which is better? If we use the green raw material, better. Then let us use the green raw material. If it is better to have a carbon fiber, to produce carbon fiber, we use a lot of energy. But as a result, if we have an EV by carbon fiber, then the total calculation says that, oh, it is better than the relevant cars produced by the steel. So, if it is better, let us move to the better side, because this climate change is really happening. I came here about 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago, the first time. Humid, so humid, Kolkata. Even the winter season, even the summer season, it was so humid. But in 2012, I just came back. After the first tenure, second tenure, I came back. I felt Kolkata is very dry. And the Calcutta Swimming Club, always summer, children are swimming outside. Today, nobody is swimming in the summer, outside, because it's too hot. Water is too hot. It never happened 15 years ago. So climate change has already started. This is a fact. Whatever the reason is, if it is better, we should move to the better side, to think over the sustainability of the society and global and people. So let us calculate which is better. Recycling is really using energy, but having exploration of the fresh crude oil is also very energy consuming. So which is better, recycling or exploring and again transporting from Middle East to Japan and refining and making naphtha, utilizing naphtha to produce PE, or otherwise just chemical recycled there in our Kashima plant, just we started. Which is better? Let us be scientific and let us talk about science. I think that's the way that we should select.
Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to you, Chikumoto-san. Probably in Chinese, in Japanese, I'll say konnichiwa. I am Himanshu Patel. I'm from Deloitte, and I've been fortunate to be associated with your plant coming up during your first visit as well as during your second stint. I'll take that offline, but my question to you would be, in your industry, there are two significant challenges and areas to focus on. One is your complex supply chain, and the second one is the rapid enhancement on the technology. So my question to you is, what's your priority, the topmost priority in the technological area and the topmost priority in supply chain?
Thank you very much for the difficult question again. It is very difficult. We cannot select supply chain and technology. Both are very important. It is a time to spend our cash for R&D like Chatterjee-san is doing. I think we are challenged by the climate change and shortage of food and many diseases happening by this climate change. And also, we just experienced COVID. we thought about our life, we thought about society, we thought about people, and we thought about technology to cure the COVID. We need to develop our technology by enhancing R&D strength in each company and also supported by the government. At the same time, because like America today, they are not so cooperative with many countries. And the supply chain is now becoming not so big. It is becoming smaller and smaller. So we have to think how to survive this situation and how to keep the very solid supply chain for our business. Each company has to think very well. So, like China, US separated today, but we have business with both countries and also in both countries. So let us be very flexible to connect with other countries and also US and China, keeping the relationship with them. But if we cannot arrange a good supply chain, then let us move on to find out a way to keep the supply chain and the supply ability to the society. This is also our mandate to work for that. And somehow, I think the world is connected. Even so many new regulations comes and limitations comes. I think somehow they find their way to survive in this very difficult situation.
Yes, Mr. Chatterjee.
Thank you, sir. My name is Chatterjee. I have one question to Dr. Chatterjee and also one to Mr. Chikumoto-san. Regarding Dr. Chatterjee's concern, I would like to know how 2nd April is going to act in the international trade. As you know that additional tariff is likely to be imposed on certain countries, including India, on 2nd April 2025. And all the countries, including Japan, Australia, Canada, India, are all trying to safeguard its interest. Now, if you see the history of 1930, 1984, and latest 2020, there were trade wars between America versus Canada and other countries, and it never succeeded. So I would be interested to know how it is going to impact the international economy as a whole, because if you see the financial institutions, capital markets, all markets are subdued only because of this particular issue, that is tariff war. And second question I would like to know technically, I am basically from economic side, regarding people are talking about the green hydrogen. Now if you go to the technicalities of the green hydrogen, I find that if you use 100 megawatt of power to convert water into the hydrogen, it can generate hydrogen to the extent of 37.5 megawatt. That means input is 100 megawatt, output is 37.5 megawatt. This is the input-output ratio of hydrogen. Now, in this background, how the mission hydrogen will be successful, taking into account the price being prevalent in fossil fuel and other areas. Thank you very much.
Look, the first question is so complicated, I don't know the answer. Okay? But I'll give you my thinking process. And I think it is inevitable tariffs are coming on various products and on various countries, and the countries will add their tariffs. But if you read what this man is all about, is using tariff as an instrument of negotiation. Not just trade negotiation, he's using this as an instrument of all kinds of negotiations, including border, including fentanyl, all of these issues, he's using tariff as a, because that can be used. And rest of the world actually has, in my mind, misused American naivete, generosity, whatever way you may characterize it, their way of thinking that they will export democracy everywhere and thereby bring China into WTO. So there are different things they have over time done, but this regime, this administration is changing those basic assumptions. So how I think about it is the midterm election is coming. For all politicians, midterm election is very important for carrying on the mission for the next 4 years. So before midterm election, in order to deal with the midterm elections uncertainty, they have to make sure there is stability and upswing in the economy and the market, and there's huge amount of debt refinancing is coming up. People that took low-cost debt 5 years back, when the COVID was there and zero interest, all of that has to be refinanced. So taking those things into account, what this team is doing is deploying all things very quickly and then see which one sticks. So they have an agenda, that meaning the team under President Trump. Now, how the rest of the world will deal with that agenda is the question. How quickly they will be pragmatic, and how quickly will Trump pull back and saying, okay, I've got, of the 100 things I wanted to get done, I've got 70 done, I got first division, he will declare victory, and he will go off. 4 years from now, we'll have a different world. So main question in my mind is, who is opposing this? Can Europe really oppose it? Do they have the economic strength to oppose it? Because the choice is very stark. Ukraine cannot fight the war without American support. So Ukraine and Russia and America has to come back to a proper negotiation, and faster the better. Because unless peace has to happen in Ukraine. So you could have gone on for another $1 trillion of investment, and outcome will still be the same. So it's very important that leadership everywhere sees what is in their best interest for potentially what the world order would be, and get onto that. And I think it is this year is the crucial year because of the midterm election and huge amount of refinancing that should be done. Interest rate, but the market, US market is saying there is a potential for a deep recession. Now whether that recession will happen or not, nobody knows, because flip side of it is huge strength of the US economy. But the oil price is also coming down, which will create the inflation to be lower. So it's a very complex equation that I do not know what will happen. Only thing I see is how quickly will he declare victory.
Thank you very much for the difficult question again. Yeah, actually, Japan has nothing. Basically, solar power is getting less sunlight. And the wind is always moving, so wind power is very difficult to install. And the land is limited. And hot springs we have, but land heat power, we cannot utilize because of the heavy resistance from the hot spring people. So, hydrogen price is a big issue. Government is saying that, please utilize green hydrogen. Please set up a green hydrogen society. But actually the price is too high to use that. At the same time, there are some people who are thinking to bring hydrogen to Japan from outside, like producing ammonia in Indonesia and bring it to Japan. It costs a lot, again. Still, getting a hydrogen afterwards, nitrogen is left. How to utilize it? So, we thought that we have to have a very cheap resource to produce cheap hydrogen. So far, our answer is Abu Dhabi project. We found the world cheapest power, green power in Abu Dhabi. But still, the produced hydrogen is very expensive because the separation of water is quite difficult. So, we need some new technology to have a green hydrogen. It is very obvious. Otherwise, we cannot have a green hydrogen society. But who can have such kind of technology is the people. Our chemical technical people are the only people who can develop this technology. No other people. So, we have to push ourselves to increase the power of R&D, as I said, and try to find some innovation. To have it is really necessary for our future and for our sons and grandchildren's future. It is really necessary, and let us try our best to support such kind of activity and for our sustainability of our industries.
I see a few hands, but maybe the last question. Yeah, right at the back. Yeah. Yeah. This is the last one.
To Mr. Chikumoto-san. Question to you is, Mitsubishi is turning into a green specialty chemicals company. Okay. So we are assume less other than green, everything is gray, black, whatever you call it. Now, when you develop a technology, what kind of price difference you are seeing between green and gray or black? If I take your MMA technology, which you are actually working for a biological process, versus you have a technology. Now, what kind of price difference you are witnessing? The reason why I'm making this statement, because if you go back and see around 15, 20 years back, all of us, we started pitching into bioethanol and biodiesel story. Okay. And both has been completely wiped out. So when you bring that kind of green technology, remember one thing, if you target food chain, you are directly food chain, either you're making a chemicals or an energy. Do you think that will be sustainable business? Thank you.
Any change cannot happen in one night. It's always gradual change. The world is every day changing, gradually and gradually. I was selling PET resin to the big beverage companies. And I tried to change the PET resin. I was asking them to utilize the recycled resin and a new catalyst used resin to think over the health of people. But they said that, Chikumoto-san, impossible. Any cents increase, we don't accept. Then, after 15 years, 20 years, they are now paying more money for recycled resins. If you look at the price of the PET water, PET beverage, in Japan, it was increased almost 20–30%. And any food, because of the inflation, the price is increasing in Japan. I think in Europe and America, same. But the price increase was more than the raw material increase. I think after the COVID, the activity of the consumers totally changed. They buy less, but they buy. So even the price is higher, what they buy, they need to buy. And the food makers decided to increase the price. And when they see, oh, consumers do not buy, they reduce the contents of the product. That is, realistically, this is a price increase. But consumers buy the smaller content product, but the same product. And the profitability of the food companies are more than before. Recycled PET resin beverages are sold at a higher price than before. And then PET bottle producers and beverage companies started to utilize the recycled resin because they can afford to accept the cost increase. But they use only 10%, 20%. If they use 100%, the cost increase is much more. They need to increase more. So 10%, nobody knows. 20%, some people may know. If you look at the automotive, one car has almost 200 kg plastics. Recycled plastics, maybe the cost increase was, say, $1 per kg. So in total, how much increase? $200 per kg. If somebody is buying Mercedes-Benz, if somebody is buying Audi, somebody is buying Lexus, who cares about the price increase of $200 while they are paying $70,000? So this is a theory. If you go to the supermarket, and people who buys plastic bucket, they don't buy the steel bucket because it's heavy, difficult to use. Even the plastic bucket is slightly expensive. The rich people and also well-salaried people, they don't care. They prefer the convenience. So gradually, the activity of the consumers are changing, but it doesn't change completely in one night. So we need to be very patient. We need to watch the consumers' movement and activity very carefully and find out some point that they can accept. That is the generationalized price that we can find.
Thank you, Mr. Chikumoto. Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. So we are closing this session here with a vote of thanks, and we would request that from Mr. Navneet Narayan, the Vice President, Bengal Chamber, and Whole-Time Director and CEO of Haldia Petrochemicals Limited.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a real honor today to be part of this session that we had. I never realized how time has passed, and we have spent more than an hour listening to Chikumoto-san and Dr. Chatterjee. But I'd like to have a round of applause for both of them for sharing in Chikumoto-san and Dr. Chatterjee, we have two great visionary leaders who have shaped not just the industry, but I think they have impacted the industry in different parts of the world. And I heard him saying that Kolkata is a second home. I just realized Kolkata is a place where East meets West. So from Japan we have Chikumoto-san, and from New York in a way Dr. Chatterjee. So we all meet in Kolkata. On behalf of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I'd like to thank everyone for participating in this session, for spending your evening here, and also to our honored guest for taking the time out to be here with all of us. It's really a big honor for all of us that we could spend time with you. We are privileged to also have our past presidents. Thank you very much for coming here, and all our guests from the companies, whether it's HPL, MCPI, the entire TCG group. A lot of people have come from the company, so thank you very much for coming here. I'd like to also thank Dr. Andrew Fleming, the British Deputy High Commissioner. He's joined us. And we have Mr. Ashida Katsunori, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, pardon me, the Deputy Consul General of the Japanese mission in India. Thank you also, friends of the media. I met a few of them earlier today, and I think thank you very much for joining us today. Special thanks also to the chamber itself and the entire team which has worked in the background to make this evening a very, very eventful evening for all of us. So thank you very much for all the hard work that has gone through. And once again, thank you very much for coming over and for your time that we have spent today. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are requested to please join us for the high tea at the Bengal Lounge. For those who are not acquainted with this building, it's on the 3rd level. So, elevators at this side and this side of the, hall. So see you upstairs for the high tea. Thank you.